The parish of Dunkeld Handbell ringers was formed about 5.5 years ago. The parish is actually quite a large parish. It centres around the Cathedral Church of St Columba in Dunkeld, but there's also Little Dunkeld Kirk, which is over the River Tay, and a third little church, Dwali Church, which is further north on the way to Pitlochry. In this DVD you will see some of the ringing taking place in the cathedral and some of the ringing taking place inside Little Dunkeld Kirk. Little Dunkeld Kirk is very fortunate in that it has a 9th century Celtic bell, and these are very rare indeed. I understood until recently that there were only 5 of these ancient Celtic bells, but I've since been told that there are 7 of them, but I haven't confirmed that yet. They're unique to Scotland in that they ring 3 different notes. If the clapper strikes on 2 sides, they're rectangular, they're not circular like these bells, they're rectangular bells. And if the clapper strikes on 2 sides, you get 2 different notes. And if the clapper strikes on the other 2 sides, you get the same note. So these bells will sound 3 different notes, not like the new ones, which can only play 1 note. It is thought that the Columban monks actually used the bells, perhaps to summon people to worship, or perhaps as an aid to the singing during the services. Our bells are from America. Bells are made in Britain, but these actually are American bells. Each bell sounds 1 note, and they're rather like the keys of a piano. The keys of a piano each just sound 1 note, and the keys of a piano have, some of them are white, and some of our handles are white, that's the naturals, and some of the keys on a piano are black, and some of our handles are black, and those are the sharps and flats. There's lots of different techniques that you can use with the bells, apart from just ringing them. And you'll see some of these techniques being used on different pieces on this recording. The normal way to use them is to ring. And you'll notice that when we're ringing, especially in the solos, that the bell is kept moving as much as possible. As soon as it touches my shoulder, or it touches the table, the sound stops. So to keep the sound moving in the air, for you to hear the sound continue, we keep the bell moving. Sometimes I change, when I'm doing ringing solos, I change the sound slightly by twirling it. If you look for these techniques when you're watching the different pieces being played, but there's the twirl, which changes the sound very slightly. There's another technique called a tower swing, and I ring the bell, swoop it backwards and bring it forwards. I'll do it now and you will hear the difference in the pitch. That's rather like when you hear an ambulance or a police car coming towards you with the siren, and as it approaches you and then passes you and leaves you, you hear the sound of the siren, the pitch changes slightly, and that's what's happening with the bell when I'm swinging it backwards and forwards. So that's another thing. You can also use them with these mallets as like a glockenspiel. And you can bounce the bell into the table. Now the reason I can do that is that under this lovely blue covering we have 4-inch thick high density foam, and that protects the bell. So I can actually make a different sound by, shall I say, thumping the bell on the table. And a slightly different sound if after I've thumped it I raise it. That's different from... You will see some of the ringers also playing staccato notes, and they put their fingers, their thumb, on the metal of the bell. I'm not actually going to do that now because I'm not wearing gloves. One of the rules with handbell ringing is that you always wear gloves. But when I'm solo ringing, I find the gloves are a bit of a hindrance. They either stick to the handles or they slip on the handles. But bell ringers normally wear gloves, and you'll see when the group's ringing that they all wear white gloves. And because they're wearing gloves, they can actually touch the metal of the bell, which gives a staccato effect. Normally, we never touch the metal of the bell with our bare hands. When the group are ringing, you'll notice that most of them have one bell in each hand. The bells don't rest on the table as they are here, they just rest on the ringer's shoulders. And they bring them forward whenever they want to ring, and they just have two notes to think about, two keys on the piano. Sometimes, though, ringers can ring 4 bells by having 2 in each hand. And if you watch carefully, you might see that 1 or 2 of them are doing this. The ringer at the far end with the treble bells sometimes is doing that, and sometimes I'm doing it, if you watch carefully enough. Now, the reason that we can do that is because these aren't normal bells. They're quite complicated musical instruments, and the clapper will only move in one direction. If I take a larger bell, that clapper will only go in that direction, and the bell will only ring if it's moved in that direction. It won't sound if you go sideways, only in the one plane. So that means that I can have one bell ringing forwards, and I can turn the other bell on its side so that it won't ring forwards, but it will ring sideways. And then I can link the 2 bells together and have one ringing forwards. This bell is ringing, that clapper's doing nothing. I can go sideways, this bell will ring, and that clapper will do nothing. And if you link 4 bells together, I'll link these 4 bells together, it's possible to ring the 4 notes. Forwards, sideways, forwards, sideways. So watch for that when the ringers are ringing as well. The music that we use, very often people ask us about that. The music just looks like ordinary piano music, no different. And when I'm ringing a solo, I choose the bells that I need for that particular piece. I choose the notes that are needed for that piece of music. Some solo ringers have all the bells out in a full line, but that takes a lot of space. And so I just select the bells that I need for that particular piece of music, and I lay them out on the table in keyboard order. So the bass bells to this side, working my way through up to the treble bells at this end. I also have to make sure that my bells are the right way up, which perhaps seems a bit strange because most bells will just ring. The clapper will flop in any direction. As I've already said, these clappers will only go in the one plane, but I don't want the bell to ring when I lift it up. When I'm ringing a solo, I want the bell to ring when I want it to ring. And so the spring at the base of the clapper has been adjusted. And unless I have the bell the right way up, it won't ring. So even though I'm ringing in the correct plane, if this bell is the wrong way up, nothing will happen. So I will ring the solo and go to ring this bell with a great flourish, and nothing happens. I have to have the bell the right way up. So before ringing a solo, you choose the notes that you need, you lay them out in the correct order, and then one final check, make sure all the bells are the right way up. And once you start to ring, then it's vital that you keep the bells in the correct order. Many people, when they're watching me ring solos, they think I'm changing the position of the bells, but I'm not. The bell always has to go back to its correct position so that it's there next time I need it. It's just an optical illusion that makes people think that the bells' places are changing. They all stay in their particular place.